This is an introduction to basic R commands and RStudio. When you open RStudio, you will see the console panel on the left. Here you can type in your commands and run them. For example, let's create a variable called A and use this arrow to assign a vector from 1 to 5 to it. And you can also use its equal sign, they are the same. Now you can see we have a new value shown here. It's called A and it has 5 elements from 1 to 5. So this environment panel tells you all the variables you have in your current working environment. So we can also perform generate a plot. That's the plot A. Press enter. Now we can see on the right panel we have a plot here. So you can always run some codes here, but these commands, after you run them, they're gone. If you want to keep a record of them, we can open the R script here, and now we can type in the command. For example, let's type create a vector B from 1 to 10, for example, and let's plot B. Let's color it blue, for example. So the commands the codes here are not running unless you select them and click run. For example, let's select the first one. Simply click the number 1 here, and then click the run icon. Now you can see we have a new variable called B, and it has 10 values. Okay, and you can always you can also check the value. Simply type in the name of your variable and press enter. Sometimes when you perform very complex calculation, for example, you may have hundreds of lines in your script. You don't want to select them one by one and then click the run 100 times. What you can do is you simply click the source icon. It will automatically run all the codes in your script. For example, here we can say we have new variable B here, and now the plot has been changed. Okay. Let's learn more about how to create a vector. So there are some other ways to create a vector. For example, we can use a function called seq, which is sequence, and create a vector start from 10 and to 50, and increment by 10. And then press enter. So now we can see we have a new vector. We have a new variable D, and it has value from 10 to 50. Okay. So this time we use a function called seq. But if you want to learn more about this function, what you can do is you use a question mark and seq, then press enter. Now we have our document on the right. It tells you the name of the function and also how to use it. There are many arguments. So here the 10 and 50 are the arguments for the from and to tell you they are the starting and the end value of the sequence. And by is, we can say is the increment of the sequence. And if you scroll down, you can also find some examples here, and you can try the examples and see what's going on. So this is very helpful because R has so many functions. You can't know them all in details. But what you can do is, okay, so next time I want to generate a vector and I want to use the function seq, I can always search the document and to learn how to use it. And this is very powerful. And in some other cases, okay, you want to, for example, you want to calculate the variance of your data, but you don't know exactly which function should I use. What you can do is use double question mark and provide the keyword, for example, variance, and then press enter. So it will search all the functions that has related to the keyword variance. Now here you can select one of them, for example here, and then try to learn about how to use it and then use it. Okay. So let's learn more about the vectors. So here, the vectors are all numeric vector. We can also have a logical vector, for example. So D is a numeric vector. We can compare D with 30 to see whether they are larger than 30. So it performs a pairwise comparison between every element at 30. And we press enter, we can see, okay, the first three are not larger than 30, so they are false. And the 40 and the 50 are larger than, so they are true. So we can also extract a part of a vector. Okay, so for example, let's use a square bracket, and then we need to provide an index inside it to say to select part of a vector. So here, let's select the first two elements of vector D. Now you can say select 10 and 20, right? We can also do something like this. We can select all the elements larger than 30. Press enter. Okay, select 40 and 50. Okay. Sometimes you can also you want to exclude some of the values in your vector. For example, let's exclude the first two. We can use the manners, and then 1:2, and then press enter. Now the first two elements are excluded. So if you don't want to type in all this command here, a little trick is you can use the up arrow or the down arrow to look at the history. Okay, and then you can modify it and then press enter. Okay. We can also have other types of vectors that are characters. So I say words. Okay, and the one thing you need to know, you must use the quotation mark to generate a character vector. Okay. Now we can say words. Now if you look at here, the type of it is character. Okay, it has two values. So the next thing I would say is the matrices. What we can generate a matrix simply by combining two vectors. For example, we have a vector B from 1 to 5, right? And then we have a vector D. We can combine these two by simply command C band. It's a column band. D. Now we can generate a vector generate a matrix, a 5 by 2 matrix. Okay. You can also you want to band the rows instead of the columns. What we can do is use R band, which is row band. Okay, B and D. Let's say. Now we have a matrix, 2 rows and 5 columns. There are some other ways to generate a matrix. For example, let's create a matrix 1. And we use the function matrix. And the value of the matrix are from 1 to 10. And we want this matrix have 5 rows and 2 columns. And the last one is by row or not. So this means whether we assign the values by row or by the column. Okay, let's say by row first. Let's have a look at mat 1. So the values are assigned from 1 to 10 by row, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? Another way is we can assign those values by column. We can try to remember the upper arrow here. Let's go back. Let's change this to false. And then press enter. We can see mat 2 are different because the values are assigned by column, right? So another way to look at the matrix, you don't want to type in the mat here. You can always click the the variables in the environment panel. Now you can see, okay, you can see the what is your matrix look like? What does your matrix look like? That's the, okay. It's similar to the vector. You can always select part of your matrix, but the one thing different is so matrix has two dimensionals. You need to provide two index for your selection, and you need to separate the two index by a comma. For example, let's select let's try this one. So the first part, this one is index for the row, and the 2 is the index for the column. So this means I'll select the element in the first row and the second column of matrix 1, mat1. Let's press enter. It should return the value 2, right? If you look up here, this matrix, it will select the element in the first row and second column, right? That's 2. We can do a similar thing. Let's try we can select from like 1, 2, 3. So this means I'll select the element in the first 3 row and the second column, right? So that's 2, 4, 6. Okay. We can do, if we don't provide anything for an index, for example, as so it basically means at this time I will select all the elements in column 2, right? And the same if you want to select, for example, the third row. Okay. And you can do the similar thing is I can select like 1 all the elements larger than like 5, for example. Also, we can perform some basic mathematics or vector and matrix. For example, we can calculate the transpose of matrix. Say it's a transpose of mat1 here, and also we can, for example, add one matrix to another, one, right? And also like for add 1 to every element of mat1, right? And also we can perform element-wise the multiplication of a matrix. Okay. So the next thing I'll talk about is the data frame. So data frame is quite similar to matrix, but the difference is, all the elements of a matrix has the same data type, while the data frame is kind of a list of vectors of the same length. So the elements in a vector are of the same type, but the vector could be different data type. For example, let's create 3 vector. One, let's call it numeric vector. It has value from like 7 to 9. Okay. Let's create another vector called ID. It has 3. It's a character vector. Has 3 values A, B, C. And also let's create a logic vector. True, false, false. Okay. Now we can create a data frame called df. Use a function data.frame num id logic. Okay. So now we have a data frame. It's quite similar to the matrix, but the data type 7, A, and 2 are 3 different data types, right? And one thing I want to say is when you want to extract part of the data frame, it's similar to the matrix. What another way is, like, for example, you can also provide the ID, provide the name of a certain row or column, and instead of the index number. So this data frame is 3 by 3, right? So the column names are number, num, ID, and logic, and the row names are 1, 2, 3. So we can do is let's select the like say the column named logic. Now it will return true, false, false. Okay. We can also select like the third row, the row named 3. Okay. It returned 9, say false. Okay. Yeah. I think that's it.